G'day, mate, and welcome to Friday Facts number 374, Smarter Robots, with my good friend, the Smarter Mojo. How you doing, mate?
Hello.
Hello. So today we're going to talk about flying robot behavior, because I hear in Factorio there are some robots that fly around.
Yes, there are, and they have a few little issues. Also, can we just point out the fact that we have a Friday Facts a week after the last one?
Hang on. Whoa. Do you mean 2 weeks in a row?
Yes, 2 weeks in a row. As promised with the previous one, they delivered another one.
Oh, what's even more impressive is they said what time it was going to be released, and they were actually on time.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Saturday.
No, it was a Friday Facts for Friday on a Friday for us in Australia. Yep.
It was in good time for Friday too.
Yeah, it came out like, midday-ish, roughly. I don't know, Prague time. And that means that Mojo pestered me about a Friday Facts for a change.
Yes. It's been a long time since that happened.
Oh, yeah, because that only happens if they come out at like 9 p.m.
9 o'clock on the dot, that was.
Yeah. And the catch is, I now go to bed at 8 p.m. in theory, because I start streaming at 4 a.m. local time.
Now you miss out when it comes out.
Look, I pestered you at 4 a.m. Mojo, what were you doing?
Sleeping.
See, you could have got up. You could have got up. You could have done Friday Facts.
You could have got up. You only been in bed for an hour.
Oh, had I remembered, because it's been so long since we've had 2 Friday Facts, a week after one another, I would have stayed awake. I would have stayed awake, especially to do the Friday Facts. But it had been so long, I completely forgot that Friday Facts existed. So, welcome to the Friday Facts video.
Routine now.
Maybe. All Friday night streams start an hour later because of Friday Facts video. No, because it'll take me an hour to record it, then an hour to render it. Yeah, we'll forget it. All right.
It's easier to do with the current arrangement where you do it in stream.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because I'm still streaming. All right, so quality of life versus flashy features by GoverX. I know that many of you are looking forward to new content, and that just quality of life improvements aren't the kind of things that make people buy the game and get excited for. But I strongly believe that if you want to add content, mechanics, and systems of the game, which already isn't simple, which is true for Factorio, there's always a risk of it being too much. By doing quality of life improvements where you reduce the small hassles and annoyances, which effectively creates extra mental space to enjoy more in the game. Does it?
I mean, this is the kind of thinking you want in these kinds of games, because the complete opposite of it is, say, Prison Architect or Space Engineers are two particularly bad examples I can think of, because, well, Space Engineers in particular, which just got a new update and same old bugs are still there.
Yeah, look, lots of games keep getting new updates and still have the old bugs. But I'm like, does removing...
Okay, well...
Does removing annoyances give you more mental space to deal with the complexities of Factorio? That's really what that line says. I don't know if it does. I honestly don't know if it does.
Yeah, it depends. Really depends on what they're changing in the background that makes their life easier as far as software goes and code.
Well, this is more aimed at the player. So I think that things that are changing are too far into the game for it to affect players. Like, if a player already decides it's too complicated, Factorio itself, and they've quit, they haven't got to these quality of life features. Maybe there's more coming in the future, but for the ones we're talking about today, being smarter robots, i.e. the flying type, yeah, maybe if we get some moving type, maybe that'll, I don't know. But says it's much like cleaning your room before getting a new toy, and we all know that Mojo stops and cleans his room before he gets a new toy, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So to make things clear, the reason we make and present these kind of changes is not because we don't want to make new flashy features. We just want the new stuff to be enjoyable without the burden of having too much to deal with. But don't worry, we'll show something new next week. Cool. So next week we get something new, which means maybe I'll stay up late for the Friday Facts. We'll see. So Smarter Robot Tasks by Oxt? Is that right?
Oxt.
Sure.
Something.
Logistics and construction bots have been in the game for a while. Yes, and they're fairly simple entities.
For a little while, yes. It's not like they've been there since 2014.
Really?
Or possibly. Yeah, actually, I think they've been there since the beginning.
I don't remember the beginning. I played version...
Well, maybe not the beginning.
I played version 3. They were definitely not in version 3.
At least like 6 or 9 they would have been around.
See, I lost the hard drive with all the old Factorio installs. I played version 3, no bots. I think I played 7, and I don't remember bots. So I'm going to go a 9-ish, roughly.
9 is pretty much the turning point into current Factorio compared to Kickstarter.
I remember when the early days when they ran out of power and they sort of exploded.
Yes, that was up until I think 11.
Oh, look, that would have solved all these problems we're talking about right now.
Oh yeah, it would have.
Yeah. Core, they're very simple entities. A logic bot, for example, may not be told to go pick up an item for a chest. May be told to go pick up an item for a chest, deliver it to another chest. So far, so good. But in Factorio, there's usually more than one item to be transferred. So what does the game do when tasked with transferring, say, 500 items from one box to another? The old way. In Factorio 1.1, the game keeps a list of all idle robots, including those hiding away in roboports. And when a task needs to be taken, it basically sends the nearest idle robot from that list. So to transfer 500 items from one chest to another, ignoring the fact that robots with upgrades can move multiple items, we're just going to skip that, just makes life a little bit easier. It's going to set one robot to move one item, then 2 robots to move the second item, a third robot for the third item, and blah, 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 blah. So eventually you get
down the list.
500 robots to move stuff from box to box, which is fine, except... As always, whenever you do a task like this, you end up with, the first bots, which are local to you, showing up very, very quickly. And the more you stress out your network, so if you only have 600 robots in the network, you end up with robots further and further and further away. The way most people combat this is, how many bots can you fit in your network? Yeah, let's put about 90% of those in there. And then the problem is solved.
Just have an inserter that's set to insert more into the network when the available goes below a certain number.
Yeah, that's
classic one.
That's the classic one, and it's normally it depends player to player to player, but my answer is 50. If there's less than 50 available in the network, add more. Same goes for construction bots. Just keep adding them. They're going to have somewhere to park, probably. If not, I'm probably going to put down more robots. It'll be fine. It'll sort itself out. So yes, we end up with a slow trickle of robots coming in from far parts of the base when the last items get transferred, which is, I don't know, I guess it's annoying.
It's if you're trying to move a lot of something, or the video shows, it's not the most extreme example, but if a network is particularly big, those bots can come transcontinental.
Yeah.
To wait a fair while for them to arrive.
Yeah. We can definitely wait a little while for the last of the robots to show up, which I do admit, can be frustrating. Not so much for Logibots. Logibots will get the job done, right? And I think
for building to building, it's probably not the best example. It's for personal logistics though, when you just need that last little item to come in. Just hey guys, let me just to deliver this thing to you.
Yeah, I didn't really think about personal logistics that much because normally I'm inside the network, so it doesn't really matter. I'm carrying like almost nothing on me, and I'm just press the Q button on the item I want, place it, and then a bot shows up sooner or later to build the damn thing. So
we probably don't see it as much because we tend to build bases that cater to delivering things right immediately in front of you and having enough bots right immediately in front of you.
No. I play with explosions all the time, and random parts of the base being blown up all the time. Yeah, there's a good factor that there might have been bots in the network earlier, but now 90% of them are dead. So sometimes things take some while. It's fine.
Yeah, that's actually a better way to clarify. See, I do the smart thing, and you do the brute force thing, which is just attrition.
Yeah.
And recycle.
Yeah.
And replace.
Yeah.
Or attrition and replace.
Yeah.
This isn't decent.
Yeah. No, we're not recycling items in this one. Yep. Situation similar for construction bots. This may be especially apparent when using one's portable roboport. Say the player wants to remove a bunch of trees in their factory. Single person robot can have up to 25 construction robots. So there's up to 25 trees that could be deconstructed using a player's personal robots. All the remaining trees will be assigned to robots from the main logistics network. Player will have to wait for them to arrive for the trees to be gone, even though the player's personal robots are right there with nothing better to. This I can definitely see.
This clip is exactly the problem right here.
Oh, no. This clip is not the problem. The problem is when you place down belts or a factory or whatever in the middle of the trees, and one of your personal robots takes off. He's like, I've got this, boss. Yeah. And he flies over to a tree. He's like, oh, somebody's going to remove the tree for me, but then I'll put down this belt for you, sir. And then this belt will be the last belt to get the whole production running. And then you wait.
Just like the cliff that gets exploded by the last little. Say, hey guys, I got the explosives.
Yeah, well, look, good. He had to go the other way to get the explosive first, okay, and then come back. That's fine. But it'll be that one bot that you just wait around forever because you need to stay in range of that one bot so we can put down that one belt. But that tree is still there because a base bot is coming to do that tree. And then eventually you get jack of it and you're like, it'll just get done. It'll get done. The build is done. It's all done to ratio. It'll be perfect. I don't need to worry about it. And you step just outside range where the robot's like, oh, I'm out of power. I got to come home. And he comes back to you slowly because he's out of power. And then you see the other bot come in to pick up the damn tree, which means once the tree's gone, a new bot needs to be assigned, because they can't assign your personal robot bots anymore, because they're now out of range, to put down that one belt to actually start the production line. So this
It
one
actually also touches the other issue, which is that the buildings to be placed under when you place down a blueprint, buildings get it's always your construction bots, isn't it? They always go to place things. They never take up the trees or the cliffs or the
that's more of an order of operations thing, really.
Yeah.
But then again,
addressed to here though.
But then again, do you really want all that wood in your inventory?
I mean, that's what auto trash is for, or just throw it on the floor.
The Z button, the Z button, the Z button.
Yes. Or, I mean, you're in a forest, and you can handcraft wooden chests. Handcraft wooden chest, place wood in chest, shoot chest, and there you go.
Problem solved, problem solved. And then what happens? A bot from the base comes to put a wooden chest back for you.
Yes, places the shot wooden chest.
This
just
is what,
to spite you.
This is why you
using them.
Don't have wooden chests in the network. Yeah, okay, so the new way. Choosing robot for a task. Not only from the list of idle robots, clearly, but choosing a robot for the task, only from the list of idle robots, clearly isn't the best strategy. We agree. Assigning a task for a robot is currently busy, but nearby might be a better choice. I agree. Even if the new task may have to wait until the robot finishes the other task. They require two main changes to their logistics network code. The first change was allowing robots to have multiple tasks assigned to them, much of the code being written with the assumption that the robot has exactly one job. But after some code refactor, robots now have a queue of tasks. Now, Mojo, before we go any further, I need to ask a very important question. Factorio has a limit on entities being in the robot network to be done to 599?
Or it's the global build queue was like 600 or 2,000 or something.
I think it's 600. And then there's a separate queue for tiles now, because they got split into two queues.
Separate queue. They used to all be the same. And then tiles would, mega concreting projects would clog up the construction list for hours.
No, they still do. They still do. But for entirely different reasons. It's just the bots get busy.
Separated out.
So, the question is, with this change, as a robot can now have multiple items assigned to them, do you think they've increased that number?
I'm somehow doubting it.
Okay.
That's I'm being a little conservative here. I have a feeling they haven't changed it.
Not round up to a neat thousand? Neat thousand?
A neat thousand?
Well, actually, but you're right. We had two separate queues at 600 items each. So you could have 600 foundations or landfill being put down, tiles of some sort, and 600 entities. I wonder if now a robot can have multiple tasks. I wonder if they've merged the two back together and said it's now 1,000.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because that would technically have sort of the same overhead, and it means you're not having two sets of tasks lists you need to keep track of, one for entities and one for tiles, but now you just have one queue for everything.
Does that mean that concrete can be much more efficiently placed?
Well, we already have a more efficient concrete.
We have that.
Where a robot who can carry 3 can put down 3 at once.
It can carry whatever their limit is set to, whether a base game or by full stacks given a mod.
Yeah. So the second thing they need to do was select a robot for the task. Each task has a starting position. For example, deconstructing order starting at the entity being deconstructed. Till now, selection process was simple. We just selected the idle robot closest to that point. But now we can also select a robot with one or more queue tasks. The process becomes a little bit more complex. The new metric for robot selection is on arrival time. For an idle robot, its arrival is simply the distance from the starting position divided by its speed. For a busy robot, we can look through its queue of tasks, figure out where and when the robot is going to end up when it's done, and then add the flight time from there to the starting position of the new job. When selecting a robot for a task, we select one that's going to arrive first, even if it has to take care of other buildings before that. It's worth pointing out the new arrival time calculation is only an estimate. For example, we simplify the effects of the recharging times. Keen-eyed player will no doubt some situation where choosing a different robot could have been a little bit more efficient, but the big picture doesn't seem to be very noticeable.
It's good enough.
Let's see whether the new system handles our previous two examples. The individual batch of robots is tasked with transferring all the items, which results in them shuffling back and forth between the requester and the provider, which is awesome. I have to say,
you don't see the transcontinental bots flying in eventually.
oh well, if you could go back to the first video, like they get most of it done, but then there's that last.
It's always the last 10 or so movement jobs.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's always, well, in this case, I think it's the last 3 or 2 bots that just show up finally at the end, like, we've got this, boss. We've flown big distance for you, boss. We're happy to do that, boss. You pay us electricity, boss.
It takes like an extra 5 seconds.
Yeah. So the new one, it's literally not quite. There's a couple of extra robots that don't go back to this tower to recharge, but I would assume it's, I don't know, 50 robots, 100.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah. Like, it's amazing. And by the way, nobody's going to move. Well, actually, I take that back. No, I'm willing to bet somebody has a mall where they move red belt from there to there, and it's literally 2 tiles, and they finally get blue belt, and then they request all their red belt from that box to the box right beside it, and they request in 2,000, it just all moves 2 tiles. Yep. I bet somebody's got a mall like that. Yep.
I've seen multiplayer games where people do stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
I've seen multiplayer games where people used to use yellow chest for everything.
Oh, the active provider in yellow chest? Nothing but?
Oh, no active providers. Just they were using the
storage chest for everything.
Storage chest as the provider.
Oh, well. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
For deconstructing trees, each of the player's personal robot does more than just a single tree. Robots from the network will still come to help out, but it's only because they can get the whole job done faster, which is a major change.
Yeah, significantly faster than what it was before in that clip.
Well, a lot of people complain for a very, very long time that they'll go to build something and then their personal robots just sit around and do nothing.
Yes. We're actually also, as we were alluding to before, where you place down a blueprint and your boss only go to place down the items and never touch the trees or rocks or whatever in the way.
They'll pick up some of them, but
yeah, they might pick up some, but most of the time they're just going to ignore it.
Yeah.
And try and do the easy stuff.
Yeah.
Just hang around doing nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Now this has been a heavily requested feature for a very, very long time. In fact, one of the main ways players got around this was they deconstruct something, and then they watch their personal robots go out, and then come back, and then cancel the deconstruct, and then run the deconstruct again, because that sets up a new queue, and then your personal robots will go do it again, and again,
It's what I do.
Yeah.
Just keep spamming deconstruct, cancel, deconstruct,
Yeah,
cancel.
pretty much. And there were a couple of mods that would do the same basic process for you, as far as I understand how the mods worked. But as the devs always point out, they were super UPS intensive because they're just re-queuing the same robots, or technically different robots, over and over and over and over, which the game was not particularly happy about. Yeah, and I've never used one because I knew how unhappy the game was about it. So I'm like, no, it's fine. The bots will get there. That's the whole reason we have bots. They'll get there eventually. I don't need to watch them do it. I just trust them. And then they screw me over time and time again. Anyway, performance. Having a simple list of all busy robots that go through each time a new task comes in may work fine for small factories, but with several thousand bots flying everywhere, it can quickly become a UPS drain. To alleviate that, we implemented a different representation. When a bot's queue of a task is updated, it calculates its final position estimate. That is the final position and the time which it will finish. Each map chunk now stores a list of all busy robots that are estimated to finish on that chunk. So when a robot updates its final position estimate, it registers itself on that chunk's list of robots. When searching for a robot for a particular task, the game now starts its search at the chunk where the job starting position is located, and then continues the search in an outward spiral. Storing busy robots on chunks and searching a spiral improves performance by a lot, and even factories with thousands of busy robots run well. Cool, we can now just make a robot factory do everything.
Yes, a transcontinental robot factory.
Of course. How else would you do it? How else would you do it? You need to fly them across the map, and more importantly, across a good span of map that has nothing but water in the middle.
Oh, yep.
Yep, that's definitely the best way to do it.
It's got to be dog bone, a U shape as well.
Yeah, Look, if you really want to throw a challenge in there, make sure it dog legs over a biters. Preferably of the large worm,
better.
even behemoth worms. They're the best type. Yep.
Yeah, one shot.
So, Smarter Robot, other things. Whilst playing and developing the expansion for the last 2 years. They say it like that. Like it's nothing. And it's another at least a year away.
Casually drop that 2 years in.
Yeah, 2 years, add another year, 3 years. 3 years, guys. 3 years for the, they're now calling it expansion. Expansion, DLC 2.0. We'd need to decide on a title before we end up 50 more Friday Facts from now, and then we're releasing the expansion DLC Factorio 2.0. We have accumulated a few more features and changes to make the robots feel smarter and work better. Roboport robot requests. Some situations where you need to make sure some robots always have robots to service tasks. For example, if you have a literal resupply point, buffer chest, you want Logi box around quickly to empty your trash and refill your supplies. It's quite annoying when all the materials are right there and you're stuck waiting around because due to the nature of natural robot, my God.
Migration.
It's a long day. It's a long day.
Scroll down to the picture. It makes more sense.
Yes, the robots in the area are the robot ports in the area are quite empty. Now, I want to bring up Mojo. Mojo has a wonderful make most
Everything?
things.
Make everything with an asterisk, where it doesn't actually make. I mean, technically you can make it everything. I just don't provide the pistols and the other crap, like burner crap.
If you want a pistol, there are little red dots on the map. If you run towards them, you get another pistol.
Yeah, that's how you get pistols.
Yep. Completely automated.
them.
You just put down some belts from spawn towards the red things. Automated 100%. Just need to put an inserter into your pocket that reaches in and grabs your pistol on the way up. Also helps if you take your ammo out of the way. But anyway, yes, so you have a make all things. But I have seen it, and it's very complicated, lots of wires, does smart things. I've seen it, and I have seen people use it and have this exact frustration. That they show up,
Yep.
and it's all Roboport based, so there are robots everywhere, no matter what.
And mine is really good at pulling bots from the far reaches of the network.
Oh yeah, it's very good at sucking robots towards it, but there is always a chance that they've done a construction task on the other side of the map, and it has drawn in just enough robots to make sure it works, and then the player shows up, normally with their train or something else, and stands there and watches the robots like fly around them and past them and ignore them and their trash slots and everything else, and then finally pay attention to the player. Or it just keeps building the make everything things whilst the other robots fly all the way back across the map. Obviously hitting every charging port along the way.
Naturally. It's actually one of the problems with it is these migratory bots being pulled in from the far reaches of the map. Is either an item doesn't get picked up, and so it keeps making that item, or it is starved of the item waiting, like the whole chain is starved waiting for this one item to be crafted because the circuits are coming from the other side of the map.
Yeah. So this can be solved with request chests, inserters, circuit network and such, which decide a smoother approach. You can now set a logistic request for robots directly inside the Roboport GUI. Robots will be dispatched from other Roboports to fulfill the request. Important to note, robots will not be taken from storage or provided chests. So, Mojo.
Yes, so it won't add new bots to the network. It will only redistribute what's already in and available.
Correct. Now, I want to get your thoughts. What is your thoughts on one, the feature?
I like this feature. It means you can keep them all concentrated in one space, which is typically what you want.
Well, you want a certain number in one space.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can also see situations where you would want to just apply this across the network to keep them distributed everywhere.
I wonder if it copies and pastes.
It should.
Like if you make a blueprint with one of these with just a logistic request of 10, and therefore you end up with a distributed network with at least 10 robots roughly in every Roboport.
Robots.
Robots, yep. I've been playing too much DC. There's too many robots in one sentence, okay? Alright, so,
Where's your logistics cub?
no, we only have combat cubs. Now, okay, my new question is the phrase, okay? You can now set a logistics request for robots directly inside the Roboport GUI. Is that actually a request?
Yes, that looks like the requester GUI as a requester chest.
Okay, and what shows up in a requester chest?
The things you request.
Which are items generally.
Items, yes.
Yeah, but not roboports from inside the logistics network, right?
How do you mean?
Like in the logistics network, the ones that are flying around, the ones that are doing the deliveries and the everything else.
I imagine it wouldn't call them.
But it never does. It never has.
It never does.
And this is my problem. It's not a logistics request because Woob has trained us to call a logistical request being things we put in a blue chest and they come out of the logistics network, i.e. the things in the passive providers, the active providers, the buffer chests, the storage chests. I'm missing a chest.
I see what you mean, yes. Yeah, because when they pick it up, it's removed from the network.
Correct. But these are not removed from the network. These are being shuffled around to the robo network.
Yeah, it's more of a way to redistribute where they should be parking.
So, Mojo. If you look at this game and you look at a logistic request and you say, I had like 100 robots, would you assume, given what you've already learned about the logistics network, would you assume that these robots will be coming out of a red chest, if required, to make sure that this stays with 100 robots in it?
Potentially. I could see that confusion being made.
So, would you agree that maybe the phrase logistical request on this GUI is probably the wrong wording?
Is probably the wrong wording.
And
yes.
maybe
now I get the point you made earlier.
Just a small suggestion. Maybe local bot availability as the title?
Yeah, that would be more precise as to what it's asking for.
Look, you could change it to logistical request. You could change it that is a perfectly legitimate phrase. The catch is, you then need to change the title and the phrasing we've been using for the yellow chest, the green chest, the blue chest, the red chest, the purple chest, to logistical storage, logistical materials,
logistical materials, and then logistical bots, logistical trains.
You need to change the current word we're using for the logistics network to a new phrase that we all have to learn for Factorio 1.2/DLC/expansion/version 2, because you want to use the more correct phrase for the new feature you're adding. Yeah. This needs to be changed. It's going to catch new players.
It's ambiguous with the wording.
Yeah, it's going to catch new players. Now, at the same time, Mojo, very, very important question. How much red wire is in that inventory?
Not enough.
Okay, how high does red wire stack?
200.
Okay, now, even if an item stacks
why is it 0?
It's not 0. Well, no, it's not 0.
Or is it infinite?
It's not infinite. It's not infinite either. Okay, Spidertrons, they stack to 1. Therefore, they don't have a number in the corner. Okay? That is red wire that doesn't stack. Why do you have red wire that doesn't stack?
Either you're clogging inventory slots or masochism.
Well, they're not.
Or they infinitely dispense wire.
Well, hang on. You're not clogging inventory slots because they're not locked inventory slots, because then they have the blue background.
Yeah, that's true. What I mean is that if they don't stack, then you have.
But if they don't stack,
inventory slots like
they don't stack. We have red wire in 2 different locations, right? Right?
Yes.
But Factorio auto sorts your inventory.
Yes.
So therefore, they wouldn't be in two separate
places,
locations, like after roboports, before combinators, and then after depleted uranium, depleted nuclear fuel, whatever it's called.
Something like that.
It's the stuff that you recycle for dull rocks, right?
It's likely, so it sorts by name or something, the internal game name. Or something like that.
Sorts by the category that they are in the crafting menu. So you're looking for something, the category is after Roboport, but before Combinator, and something that's after depleted uranium storage, something, whatever they're called. I ran a nuclear reactor.
These are likely DLC items that have been switched to wire graphics to hide them.
They are. In theory, this is your little teaser. They are items that we're going to hear about in the future. They're new items, which was something after Roboport, before a Combinator, and after a depleted uranium, whatever, nuclear fuel cell.
So 2 logistic and then 5, which are. Well, is uranium cell one of the last items in the third category?
It's on third category, fourth category.
Uranium's the uranium pot's third category because it's whatever they call it.
Or maybe it's a weapon item, so it could be out of the fourth category as well.
Yeah, so it could be intermediates, or they could all be weapon items, or there could be a 5th one for space.
Oh, it's true, entirely true. It's something after Roboports, before Combinators, so it's either more wiry smart stuff, at which point I pass, or something after Roboport. Yep.
Or it could be space logistics.
Yeah, I'm still not doing wise. I'm doing visual programming in Desynced. Turns out I'm really good at that. Combinators, nope. So, with all these new features, we can set all the robots near our resupply point, always have 100 logistics bots available. Once we arrive, our needs are serviced in record time. After, you can see the robots arriving to get the roboport back up to 100. It's always good when your needs are serviced in record time, right, Mojo?
Yes.
Cool. Great feature. I love the feature. Mojo's roboport smart thingy will be smart and full of robots forever.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely putting that into the Robo Blueprint as soon as I can.
Now, Mojo also requests the opposite. Can he please have, if you have more than 300 robots in this roboport, please send them elsewhere?
Presumably, because it's using, as I say, the blue chest logistics request as it's titled. Presumably, you can push them away as well.
No.
We don't know. We'll have to see it in more detail, though.
Well, generally Factorio has a min and a max for requests.
Yes.
So you're saying that in theory, maybe if we click on this, we get the GUI to set the request, and you could say 100 at the low end and 300 at the high end.
Yes, that's the implication that I'm getting.
Okay. I like the idea. I agree. It would be really good to say, no, I've got enough robots here. Send them away, please. Okay, so now we have the next one. More robot changes. Actually, another nice feature is you can now use the robot request to remove certain robots from the network. Perhaps we have some mod with high quality worker robots. We can request the low quality ones and remove them with a filter inserter over time, removing the worst robots from circulation. That is very important, and I'm pretty sure everybody who's played any mod that improves the robots is going to be very, very happy. But, Mojo.
Yes.
Now reading that little sentence, which I almost missed, I have to ask, do you think that we're getting a space robot, a robot Mark II, a bigger and better robot, because they have said forever that they're not going to add any sort of feature around this whatsoever? Ever.
Possibly. It's sort of leaning that way.
Like, this has sort of existed as a mod where you could say, have 50 robots or whatever, come to a roboport, and then you could pull them out with a filter inserter as a mod forever. And they've been, I guess, UPS fine, because the requests were normally pretty low, and once the robot network was empty, that particular bot, the impact was about 0. So, yeah, okay. Throwing that out there. Space robot, Mark II. Okay, when worker robots run low on energy, they need to find a nearby roboport to charge at, but they need to be a little bit smart about it. For instance, they always choose the closest roboport, and then you get queues and traffic jams at some roboports, whilst others are completely empty. For these smarts, we used quite a simple heuristic.
Heuristic, yes.
Yes. I can words. Yep. Factoring not just how close the roboport is, but also how many other robots are currently charging there. Typically, this worked well enough, but every so often you encounter little inconvenient situations where they're still bunching up on some roboports whilst ignoring others that are just a little bit further. We've all seen this before, Mojo, right?
Oh, yes.
And the answer for this is you select a roboport with the Q button, you hold down the shift button, and you drag around that substation at least twice. Solves the problem.
That's one solution.
Just putting another 20 roboports down solves the problem permanently. Because then when they come at it from the other direction, they have a different set of roboports they can punch around.
Then you just got to deploy them on the other side. You got to balance it out. You got to put fuel on one side and then fuel on the other side, and then.
Oh, no, I'm saying drag left to right. Like left to right, 1 row, left to right, 2 rows. If it gets really bad, left to right, 3 rows. And then probably another row underneath the current row. Yeah, just a good square block of like 25 roboports. Problem solved. The ones in the middle never get used, but that's besides the point. When robots come in, they get all the power they need as quickly as possible. Yes.
Yep. Yes.
In some extreme cases, this can actually be quite a problem, as the robots waiting to charge still use energy for hovering, so lose more energy in a positive feedback loop where all the robots who join the queue would fall to 0 energy. Then while they're waiting their turn, generally through, though the main problem here is the player looks at the robots and thinks, these robots are so dumb, not the end of the world, but we can do better. I've never had that problem. The only time I've had that problem is,
You're probably not looking at the problem.
No, I've looked at the problem, but the only time I've had a problem like this is if you just don't have enough charging outright.
Yeah, throwing charging at it does help.
But I'm talking like not enough charging outright. Like the bots are showing up, they're very flat to start with because they've been trailing for some distance, possibly without power. They're fully charging, they're making it back to the other location they need to get to. Possibly running a little bit low on power, possibly going at slowpoke mode, and then having to charge again. And they just have so many requests and so many jobs to do and not enough robots that they're always flat. Like there was just not another option.
It's permanently flat.
Yeah, they're either permanently on a job or flat at a roboport. It's not enough roboports with not enough robots. That's the only time I've seen this problem personally.
Or those modded roboports which only have like 2 slots in them.
Oh, 2 slots to charge 2 robots really, really fast. The catch is, yeah, you're right. They only charge 2 robots.
Oh, they don't charge fast. It's just, screw you and you ideas of having roboports with slots.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. We're talking about Bob's
Separate
stuff.
issue.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay. Surprisingly, in this case, can be helped a lot by small improvements in the logic. When we're deciding which roboport to charge at, the robots crucially did not consider the current robots on the way to that roboport, only those already in the queue, and did not factor in how many free spots the roboport has open. By adding these 2 extra parameters to the equations, the distribution of robots improves quite nicely. And now we have a nice spread of robots over many, many roboports. My answer is still put in another row of roboports.
More roboports, more better.
Yeah, look.
Don't have them come in on that angle.
But exactly. Look, the last roboport has to actually charge some robots. There are some that are running out of power, like 3, 4 roboports in. If you just put in another row of roboports, they'd all come in at full speed. It'd be improved. Yep. And roboports don't have that much passive charge power usage, right? It's not like your power massively spikes when you get roboports in Factorio at all. At all.
Never happened.
It's all right. Nuclear power's right around the corner. They'll fix everything.
Exactly.
So then we have migration. Migration for robot pathing over lakes. It's been a problem for a long time now. The robots are pretty dumb when it comes to pathfinding and try to fly over areas that have no logistical network coverage. This is because for performance reasons, we don't do any pathfinding at all. It's very important. Got to keep that performance high and make sure the factory runs as fast as possible. The robots
robots don't have anything impeding their paths. There's nothing stopping them from drawing a straight line.
Between
A and B.
Yeah, actually, even edge of map void, they don't care about it. They just fly straight over it.
Yeah, they just fly over it.
Yeah.
And the last example, the picture, that's more of a user error than a bot issue. I've always argued.
The lake one that I haven't scrolled to yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Robots just fly in a straight line from A to B. One major problem with this is the possibility that robots get stuck in an infinite loop. This is because they fly out over uncovered area, run out of battery, and return back to recharge and try again. Obviously, they'll never make it. So this is 100% a user problem. The user went and made a U-shape, which was bad to start with, but then they cupped their U-shape in, and they did it by at least like 1 or 2 roboports. So the robots are flying out over the sea and then getting stuck and having to come back. If they just made a straight line of roboports right the way up, the robots would probably, not guaranteed, but probably naturally like slide north over time with just natural stupid robot things that they do.
Yeah, they would slide north and then eventually find their way across.
Yeah, why would they do that, Mojo? Why would they do that? Mojo, that was because to the stupid charging method.
Yeah, because of the charging.
Where they'd look at the roboport and go, there is too many robots queued there. I won't fly one roboport past that. I'll go one north and I'll charge there instead. And you end up with 20 robots, or we end up with 200 robots doing these two roboports. Then you end up with 50 at the next roboport, then 20, and then 3, and then 5, and then 1, and then eventually they all work out how to get all the way around. Eventually. Not well, but eventually. And 100% a user issue. The issue was noticeable enough and annoying enough for us that we really did want to come up with a fix. The solution we came to was a smart trick in the roboport selection when they ran out of energy. Usually the robot just chooses one of the nearest roboports, which is fine under normal circumstances. But this case leads to the robots turning completely around in failure. So we changed the selection logic so that robot tries to always charge at a roboport that's closer to the destination than the robot is. That means even the robot will potentially fly with low energy for longer, it will always be able to make some progress towards the target and eventually complete their mission. So then we have the new logic, where they just launch themselves out across the sea. Even if the user makes the stupidest robot network in the world, it'll be perfectly fine. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully should prevent the most egregious issues of this technical constraint. So, Mojo, I have to ask you a very important question.
Yes?
If we have robots that will fly from the left to the right and the right from the left, okay? Let's assume the player starts on one of those sides, because that seems pretty logical. And they build all the way up this wonderful U-shaped pattern, okay? Are robots going to fly directly from... Oh, also we need to assume that this is much larger. Much, much larger. Like, you know, the gap between them is many, many chunks wide, okay? Let's go with 800 tiles. 800 tiles between the left side and the right side. Okay, good distance, well and truly. Now, are we going to assume that the robots will fly from the left side to the right side directly, even though that those chunks maybe haven't been generated yet?
In that case, they may actually try and divert around it.
Okay.
Because the assumption is that there is that C shape or U shape still. Well, yeah, it is actually a C shape. The assumption is the C shape exists, but they may try and avoid the... Actually, no, they don't care about that.
Well, they don't care about what part?
The shroud, the unexplored.
True, they don't care about it, but what happens if the chunks aren't generated?
Do you know, I never actually tried to see what happens.
So, if the chunks are not generated, can the robots pass through an area where chunks are not generated? That's probably the first question. And I would assume no.
You would assume no, but, I mean...
Well, I would assume no, and I think it's a fairly safe assumption.
Yeah.
And that means that they're not going to fly directly across. They're going to do sort of a bit of a rainbow, you know, up and over and back down. But then as an entity passes a certain area, it generates chunks within so many tiles of it. So as it does this up-arcing rainbow, each time it does that path, it's going to generate more chunks towards the bottom. So that rainbow is going to get lower and lower and lower until eventually they can fly a straight path right the way across. Yes?
Yeah.
Sound like a logical assumption? Okay.
Sounds logical.
Okay. So then the new question is, do the robots, now the chunks have been generated, and the robots are flying out to the middle of nowhere where a player has not visited, do they reveal the fog of war?
As I said, I'm going to have to test it to find out, I think.
Do they reveal the terrain? Can you now send the robots off to explore the map for you? Have we found a new way to automate things?
We're going to have to find out, as I say.
Have we found another way to find where every single worm is located on the map?
Very contrived way to explore, but...
Oh,
sure,
we just come back to robots are stupid, they're doing stupid things. They keep flying out over the worms, they keep dying. Why don't they follow the network? Because I guarantee you that's going to be somebody's comment.
Oh, yeah, someone's going to figure it out.
Yeah. All right, so, are you happy with the additions to the smarter robots?
I am, yes.
You're happy with... Good. Do you agree that maybe, just maybe, we need to rework the logistical request phrasing for...
The phrasing, yeah.
Yes.
couldn't understand what you were going on about originally, but now I get it.
Yeah. But I sent
But that's
Mojo a
normal.
message like 7-8 hours ago, because he decided not to wake up till after midday to do the Friday facts. Yep.
Oh, I was awake.
Oh, he just ignored me. Cool.
Yeah, I just ignored you.
Yeah, it's delayed because Mojo decided to sleep until midday or later. Now, my question.
You're doing Thronefall. You're busy with Thronefall, I think. No, not Thronefall.
BC?
You're busy with some other game, and so I was like, oh, I'll come back later.
Diplomacy is not an option.
That's the one.
Okay, all right. So my question for you, Mojo, and for those in the comment section below is, next week in theory, we're gonna have something flashy, something interesting, something new content. What's your bet?
Maybe, just maybe, we might get something with it's either gonna I'm thinking two things. It's either gonna be train related, or it will be actual new DLC expansion. DL expansion
2.0. 1.2. 1.22 per O. Yeah. My money is on Redwire. We're gonna find out what Redwire is.
What the secret word?
Yeah. He can't talk either. It's fine. It's going to be the secrets of Redwire. At least one of the red wires. Anyway, we need to leave this video here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next Friday Facts in Theory next week. Yeah?
Yeah, we'll see you. You can be really overconfident and say next Friday.
Next Friday. Saturday. We'll see you on Saturday. Anyway, that's it. We're out. Thanks for watching. See you next one. Bye.
Bye.